Danny, I know not everybody, not all of our listeners, not everybody in the building are big soccer people like others are. So I wanted to kind of spin this question to you. I mean, you know the game really well. You know, we talk, we watch all the time together. So you know the game really well, although it might not be on your main radar. And I think a lot of people kind of live in that world too. Going into this year, as we are now the home of the Timbers, what is it like what if I asked you to preview the season, what are you looking at? Like what do you want out of it?
I want them to not fall on their face coming out of the gate.
That would be nice.
They like it doesn't matter what team they have. It doesn't matter who their manager is. It doesn't matter who's on the roster. This is a team that seemingly for the last decade they are one of the slowest starting teams in the league. And I don't is it weather? Like is it because they play on turf? Like is it I just don't understand. It's a super weird thing. Like you get identities from teams. Like and it can hold through like you know, when you think of Detroit basketball, you think of the bad boys, and they're kind of getting back to like you just have an ethos that becomes your team. The Lakers and Showtime and how they play.
The Steelers since 1972.
The Packers and having 3 quarterbacks over the last 30 years. The Steelers and having 3 coaches over the last 70 years. Like you just kind of become that. And I'm like, I don't know if you want to be the team that always starts slow.
Take my Wazoo football team. You want to be the team known that Cougs it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fun.
No.
And the scary thing, you're totally right, dude. And I don't even know if it's the last 10 years. Hell, it might be the last 15 years that it feels like that. Last year bucked the trend. At the beginning of the year, they were scoring goals like crazy and then hit the side of a cliff.
Yes.
So but I think that's a great point. It's like, as a fan or as a casual, or hell, even if you're one of those people out there that, you know, is not interested, what would get you interested real quick is if they come out the gates playing well.
Look,
because then identity is created, excitement starts, the season's underway. Oh, I heard the Timbers are actually playing really well right now. Oh, you know, I went to a game a couple years. That was a lot of fun. I can't wait to go again.
I made the joke to Fletcher when they were in here. Like, you know what'd be really cool is if you had Zlatan on the team and his literal first touch as a Timber was a 40-yard goal on a half volley that he hammered into the upper corner. That is one of the most insane goals I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, that's a good way to get the season going.
Yeah, some fun things, like if you aren't in the know that could get you going as far as excitement, like you're talking about. Cole Bassett is the new acquisition out of Colorado. He played in Amsterdam before coming back to the MLS.
And there may be one more guy coming that's still
there may be one more guy coming.
Fully confirmed.
Yeah.
I do love that about soccer, though. Like the buyouts and the contracts and the clauses and the wages and all of the little things that a deal's done, but it's like, no, there's like 37 more pages of paperwork.
Well, because Ned said this. Ned Grabavoy, the GM, said this best at Media Day the other day. He's like, dude, I can't comment on players that aren't on our team. Yeah. And every league has different rules. So when you buy a player from another league, there's a bunch more tape that goes through than you do for your league. And so that makes that difficult. On the sense of Cole Bassett, at Media Day, he was talking about kind of the player he wanted to emulate, and his coach in Colorado agreed on that. And then before he ever said anything to Phil Neville said, "You remind me of Frank Lampard." And that's kind of a nice compliment to be given, especially if you try to play like that, a box-to-box midfielder.
Hey, you remind me of one of the best English midfielders in the last 50 years.
Who I played with on a national team competing for World Cups. Yeah, that's not a bad spot. I think for you casuals out there, there's a lot of boom or bust a little bit on this season. I think the front office and management's coaching staff does feel the pressure that last year's basically 500 ball club and getting routed in the first round of the playoffs can't be the standard this year. So with that, I mean, sometimes desperation can create really great stuff, or it could be an epic disaster. I'm not sure. I did a Reddit AMA that's still up there if you guys want to get after that about it. Somebody asked, how I think the season's going to go. If I'm being honest, I got to watch some games first. There's still some injuries. There's some moving parts. Got to see how people play, Midfield can't just gel overnight. It takes time to be out there. But soccer, very similar to the NBA, it's still a lot of flow of the game.
Yeah, it's
like
not
everybody can play.
Everybody talks about in the NBA the whole idea of like Somebody was like, the Blazers need to run more plays. And I'm like, you need to watch more basketball because this isn't 1986 and they're not running the Princeton offense.
No.
It's not ball goes here, ball goes here. You're not playing 2K and running money plays. Like, that's not how this works.
The triangle offense doesn't really exist anymore.
There are elements of so many different things that are currently active in basketball. And there are little like things you can do, but it's read and react, and that is what soccer is. And like people want to talk about, Barca, Real Madrid, and the beautiful game and tiki taka and all those kind of things. Like, yeah, you're talking about soccer or football savants.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're like. That's what you're talking about. The ability
two
to
Euros and a World Cup Spanish team are some of the most beautiful passing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
in my
and
life.
but you're also talking about maybe the highest IQ soccer players on a team collectively in the history of the game. Their ability to possess the ball for 85 to 90% of a game, and the only opportunity that you have is on like one of the 4 counterattacks that you get the entire match.
Cade Cunningham and Anthony Edwards have never played together, and they looked okay at the All-Star game because they're pros.
Yes.
And midfield works like that. Now, you definitely need like some communication with your center backs. You want your fullbacks and your wingers to have that kind of relationship, and that will grow. But for the most part, like, we all know our assignments. We all know defensively where we need to be. We all know what our goal is offensively, and we'll go from there.